Hi there, I'm here with Aldo Monteforte from the Floow. Thank you very much for joining us at Insurance Telematics USA 2015.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you to your audience.
Aldo, could I just give you the opportunity actually to introduce yourself and what it is you do within the Floow and how that operates within the connected car and insurance telematics industry?
Of course. At the Floow, we are one of the leading providers of telematics data services. We act as a trusted data management hub for a number of very large insurance organizations. We collect data from a variety of sensing devices and turn data into predictive insights and scores for our insurance partners, as well as services for end users.
Okay, fantastic. You're going to be speaking at the conference. I just wanted to ask, what is about the topic that you're going to be addressing specifically, which is so pertinent now?
Yes, we'll be talking about our experience in bringing telematics to the mass market, what we have learned in the process of achieving massive penetration for telematics products and services, and really boils down to make telematics as cost-effective as possible. It's about engaging end users, and it is about generating scores that are demonstrating superior predictive capabilities. And we'll focus in the presentation around our work and innovation in scoring technology.
Fantastic, thanks. We've got a busy couple of days, and obviously you're part of our fantastic speaker lineup that we have. We're addressing some new topics this year. I was just going to ask, what are the topics and who are the speakers that you're looking to hear from and hear about?
Well, we are certainly very interested to understand what's new in the industry and what in particular our partners and competitors are learning as they try to engage end users. I think the biggest challenge for telematics is moving the proposition from one that is pushed to consumers to one that consumers will pull and demand. And any ideas from particularly the marketing side around what we can do to deploy this amazing technology to as many consumers as possible while delighting these consumers is really what I would like to take away and hear from.
So in 2015, the Floow are obviously a very prominent player. How many years have you now been looking at insurance telematics?
Well, the Floow is a relatively young organization. I founded the company slightly over 3 years ago. We have been blessed during these 3 years that feel more like 30 years. We've been blessed by a number of client organizations that selected the Floow in the context of very competitive tenders. We are today, thank you for that, one of the leading players in the space.
So within the 3 years now that you've been looking at insurance telematics and been coming to our conferences, how have you seen the industry evolve, the audience at our events sort of take shape, and what would you see be the driving factors behind that?
Yes, I think the biggest single factor or driver of change has been the emergence of smartphones. This is something that means a lot to us because as an organization we made a bet upon founding the company on smartphones being a credible, reliable source of mobility data. And I remember, as I'm sure you will, in the early conferences around 2010, 2011, smartphones being completely absent from any conversation. And fast forward to today, it is front and center, as well as the historically unprecedented proliferation of sensing devices out there. I think that is probably the single biggest factor that has impacted our industry, and I think we are only seeing the beginning because sensors are starting to proliferate even beyond smartphones, as well as cars are becoming equipped with originally embedded sensors, and I think this is another important trend that will be affecting what we'll see over the next few years.
Sure. We're addressing a number of new topics this year that are in line with sort of emerging trends. We can now see that huge investments are being made by automakers into autonomous technology. How do you sort of adapt to that, and how do you see the impact upon the insurance telematics industry, and when do we actually think that impact will come?
Well, if you are thinking about a fully autonomous vehicle, I think that will be very, very far away in the future.
Sure.
And therefore, I don't think it's something that would concern us at this point in time. There are significant complexities, particularly around setting up an adequate road infrastructure designed to accommodate not just fully autonomous vehicles, but vehicles that will stay conducted by a human being for,
Sure.
again, many years to come. However, what we are seeing, and I think this is a trend that will accelerate, is vehicles becoming more intelligent and able to provide support, aid to the driving process with the human being still behind the wheel. And I think this is very good news, because ultimately it will result in a continued reduction in the frequency of claims. Not sure about the severity of claims. Certainly
Sure.
frequency will continue to be impacted. And there is a role for insurers to become more and more aware about the significance of this technology, and a role for organizations like ourselves to build data-centric services that take advantage of these advanced onboard technologies.
Sure. And another one of the big topics that we'll be addressing within the 2 days here at the conference is around the Internet of Things. All these devices being collected and connected, all this data that's now needs to be managed. How do you, as a business, prepare yourself to incorporate the Internet of Things and tie it in with your insurance telematics services?
This is another great trend. I think it's an unprecedented phenomenon. The proliferation of sensors out there, the ability to gather data about literally any sort of human activity. We as a business prepare ourselves by maintaining our device neutral nature. The Floow was designed very much to be able to work with any kind of sensor out there. Today we support smartphones. In the near future, wearables. We support OBDs in the traditional configuration, as well as tethered OBDs. We support black boxes. We support technology coming from the car. And we welcome the proliferation of additional sensors to the extent we can collect and process data that improve our ability to model reality, price risk, and build services for end users. This is a very, very welcome development.
Sure. Another thing that we've identified as an emerging trend, something that a lot of people are excited about, is the proliferation now of connected mobility services. So e-hailing, ride-sharing, car-sharing, things of these nature, and they seem to be growing in popularity. Again, how does the Floow sort of adapt to this trend when people are potentially, moving away from car ownership in the traditional sense?
It is a trend that we observe in many geographies, not just in Europe, but also in the US, in China. And ultimately, it is a trend that is not impacting our business model, because whether the individual behind the wheel is the actual owner of the vehicle, or whether that individual is a professional ferrying passengers from point A to point B, that vehicle is still going to generate risk. That risk will need to be monitored, will need to be managed, will need to be insured, and there will be an inherent necessity by the insurance industry to properly price that risk. And telematics can address that requirement. So it is definitely a trend we observe. Is it one that is impacting and affecting our operations or business model? I don't really see that.
Okay, fantastic. In the years past, we've seen how insurers with UBI programs have been craving the data that's been coming off the vehicle, getting access to the onboard computer. This seems to be happening more so now. We've had more insurers coming to the conference than ever before. They seem to be taking a more prominent role within the industry. Would you say that's true?
I would say that is true, and I can also share our experience at the Floow. We have signed a global alliance with Renault and Nissan, whereby Renault and Nissan vehicles are delivering raw data from the originally embedded telematics devices to the Floow for processing and transformation of this data into insights and services, just like we would take data from smartphones or aftermarket type devices. Yes, car makers are ultimately the owners of the vehicle infrastructure, and they are generating a significant amount of very high quality information, tire pressures, number of people sitting in the car, wipers on or off, and it makes a lot of sense for them to take this data and monetize it, maybe with the help of organizations like the Floow, towards the insurance industry. and Renault and Nissan are an example, but I see others lining up on the horizon. So I think that is a trend that will gain acceptance, will accelerate, and probably progressively phase out the utilization of aftermarket devices like black boxes or OBD, because the sense is the car, effectively.
Sure. So for insurance carriers, there are obviously a wide variety of insurance carriers here today from across the US and other key markets. What do you see as the core value proposition that they can put forward for having a UBI program?
A UBI program is an opportunity to radically transform the relationship with their end user from a purely transactional relationship, one where the end user will buy the policy, cancel, renew the policy, or claim, which are all not very sexy touch points between the insurer and the end user, from that state to one where the relationship is based on the ongoing provision of services around individual mobility. So the transformation of that relationship is a very important driver. Now, along with that comes the possibility, the opportunity for insurers to condition the behavior of drivers by pushing, for example, driver coaching, driver education, and other value-added services that will ultimately deliver more loyalty, deliver a longer life to the economic relationship between end user and insurer. On top of that, there is, and we'll talk about that in our keynote tomorrow, the demonstrable superior predictive power of scores generated from telematics data. It can be demonstrated now, there is enough data available, that scores, particularly of the contextual type, are orders of magnitude more predictive than traditional proxies used by actuaries and underwriters. So the combination of these elements altogether form a very important driver for the adoption of UBI, we find in our experience.
Okay, fantastic. And for yourself personally and the Floow, what do you hope to take away from attending Insurance Telematics USA 2015?
Well, I think that this is an amazing opportunity, particularly the one in Chicago, to expose ourselves with some of the leading insurance providers and automakers in the North American market. This market has proven to be very receptive, very welcoming for the particular flavor of telematics that we have developed at the Floow. We are blessed to have a number of clients and prospects in this region, and it is an amazing opportunity to update them about the roadmap, the evolving roadmap at the Floow, our growth as an organization. We are almost approaching 60 people now, the vast majority very technical in background, a great science team in the company, and solidify a relationship with existing clients and winning new ones, I would say, is on top of my agenda.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Aldo, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for coming to Insurance Telematics USA 2015, and I hope you have a good 2 days.
Thank you, Andy, and thanks to your audience. Thank you very much.